Yeah, I got married after my sophomore year in college. I did not like going to college. I think I would have liked going to college if I could have gone away to college, but I wasn't allowed to go away to college.
And where'd you go?
I went to the University of South Alabama in Mobile, Alabama. I was an art education major. I had an interest in theater and in the arts and all that, but so many of those people were so serious. I always said, this is too many black turtlenecks for me. Too much drama and too much angst. And anyway, I got married to Philip after my sophomore year in Philip Calmetti in college. And that but everybody was getting married that. It wasn't anything unusual. And lasted 3 years, but we parted, didn't have any kids or anything like that. But anyway, then I found myself, I just wanted to leave Mobile. I moved to New Orleans. I had a succession of jobs. I mean, that's a whole other book. But that's when I got into the acting business and the modeling business when I was living there, probably about the age of 27. I did makeup artistry in the department stores, and there were some fashion directors that noticed me and asked me to do some fashion shows for them and some print modeling for them. And then I started meeting other models who also did commercials. And all my life people would tell me, you should be an actor, you should be a model. But I didn't know where to go to do anything like that or have a career with it. And then I just began to put the pieces together like, oh, okay, well, I guess this is how it's done. I was also an extra in a film around the same time. It was a TV movie called Big Bob Johnson and His Fantastic Speed Circus. And a lot of commercial actors from that time were in that. Burt Gilliam was also in it. And you remember Burt Gilliam from Blazing Saddles? Yeah. But I loved being on the set and learning and seeing how everything was made, how everything was done. I was a stand-in for Maude Adams, and she was a model at that time. All those things started kind of coming together. And I started working more and more with doing these freelance jobs in modeling and doing some commercials, local commercials. And then I got cast in a national commercial for Burger King, and I joined the union.
That would be the
Screen Actors Guild. And because I knew that I could probably have a career in this if I could get myself into the right place. And I thought, well, gosh, New York seems like that's, kind of so far to go, and I'm getting started so late, or LA seems, it just seemed kind of too far. Well, every time I would not get cast in a commercial in New Orleans, I would go back and ask my agent, well, who got cast? And they said, oh, they like to bring these people in from the Kim Dawson agency in Dallas. And that happened over and over again. So I thought, well, I'm just going to go meet this Kim Dawson. So I made an appointment, and I went to see her. I showed her my commercial reel and my book. And at the time, I guess I was 28, 29 at that time. But I looked like I was like 21 or 22 or something like that. But and all she said to me, she looked at me, she said, sure, baby, we'll take you on. Now, that didn't mean that they were going to give me a job. It meant that I had to move to Dallas and be available to be sent out on auditions. But that's what I did. I moved to Dallas on my own.
And when was that? Wow.
That was in 1982, so that was 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I have been represented by the Kim Dawson Agency since that time.
Wow.
So it's been 40 years. And it was the best place for me. I was in the right time, at the right place, with the right look, and the business was booming in Dallas. They were shooting a lot of commercials. There were a lot of TV movies at that time, but also feature films. And I really made my way into radio quite early on. I got cast in it was a Wyatt's Cafeteria commercial on camera as a little serving girl. So I spoke on camera, and then they said, well, how would you like to do our radio commercials too? She can talk too. So I did some radio commercials for them. And so then I became a voiceover talent. So other ad agencies would hear it. And so I started doing more voiceover work, which was great. And because, I can talk all day, so no problem there. But that ended up being the core of my business more than on camera. And, but it was great. I loved the variety because, I could go do a commercial one day, I could do a voiceover or two voiceovers the next day. And I never knew when I was going to be working, but I consistently worked for a very long time, and I think that I was able to work in films because I knew the casting directors that cast me in these commercials. And so they gave me a chance to read. They said, "Oh, we have a line in this film that I want you to read for us, just a line." I thought, well, maybe I could do that. And so I started reading for films and ended up getting cast in some things. So, and then I would take classes. I just wanted to learn and figure out how I could grow my business and how I could just do more. Because when I worked, I made really good money. And so when I had time off, it was my time. So that was very important to me to have that kind of freedom with that. And again, there was travel, there was new people. I mean, I felt like my early life had really prepared me for success in this new life I created for myself. Moving to Dallas, I knew 2 people when I moved there, and they moved after a couple of weeks. So I really, all the, I guess success that I had there was not because of my dad's name. It wasn't for anything other than what I did to earn it and to earn my place there with a career of my own. I didn't know how it was going to work out, but I just kept putting one foot in front of the other and, just kind of taking advantage of any opportunities that came to me. Mm-hmm. And that was another thing. I found that I like to be in front of people, but not for that long. It's just like, let me just do this real fast and then get out of here. And I think that's why I liked commercials so much, because you're not on camera that long. You're with the crew all day long. Usually just takes a day to shoot it. When you're on a film, sometimes it's a day, sometimes it's 2, 3, 4 days, and or longer, weeks or months sometimes. But you become more of a family that than when you do with like a play. And I liked doing the few plays that I was in, but I really wanted to do professional plays when I was starting my acting career on camera, because when you go for an audition with the casting director for a film, they wanted to know what plays you were in or what you were working on currently. And sometimes they didn't want somebody that was just modeling or doing commercials. It seemed too fluffy to them. So if I could tell them, well, I just did a play last year, or I had a part in this play, it gave me a little more credence in their eyes. So, and it helped me grow as an actor. But it's just I don't think I have the attention span for it. And I guess what I loved about my career was, again, the variety and the opportunities to make money, which would give me freedom and a way to live my own life and make art. And I really loved being with the crews, the sets and everything. Working with all those people was so much fun. When you're working on a film, you get every kind of person. You get the money people, the executive producers, you get the really smart people, the directors, some of these people are real intellectuals and everything. Then you're down more to like the working people that are the crew people and the grips, and then the electricians and the people that are building the sets, more the blue collar, and and then you got the chefs, and you just have this wide range of all different kinds of personality types in one day. So it's, and then the other actors, they're also interesting too. Everybody just kind of has their own way that they've made into the business. So yeah. I always liked that variety, and that every day was different. But I had a good agent that I had for years, so that felt like home. You could go into the agency every day and see your agent, see what they had for you, pick up scripts, drop off your contracts or whatever. And so you had an office to go to where everybody was happy to see you, and you didn't have to go. So that was another great thing about it. And then you get booked on a job, you go show up, and you didn't know anybody. You might know some people there from like crew members or something, but they were all glad to see you too, because you were the answer to their problem. They had been casting and looking, and you got chosen. I'm officially retired because I have my pension from Screen Actors Guild and AFRA, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, and Social Security, and so I have a regular income for the first time in my life. and have had for like the last 3 or 4 years, however long it's been. I've just never had a regular paycheck, and I never think it's going to come, because my whole life has been about creating another opportunity. How am I going to make money? And then I make a lot of money on a commercial, and then make no money, and then so I just never believe those checks are going to come. They always do. So, but I can still work. I can still. I do radio commercials. I still do print work, and one of the things I like about this business, anything can happen. Nothing can happen, or anything can happen, and you just have to be willing to be available. You don't have to put, if somebody calls you and asks you to do or audition for something, you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
If you object to doing it, but yeah, you never know. You never know what's going to happen. And now, I can. It's funny because I think, oh yeah, I can play all these grandmother roles now, and I think, but I don't know if I can remember all my lines.